Mark Consuelos was jeered by the live audience after he made many comments about his wife, Kelly. Host Kelly and husband Mark had a conversation about something that many people might be doing unknowingly right before bed. As the latest episode of Live began, the two got into a conversation over cricketing. Cricketing, according to 53-year-old Kelly, is the art of rubbing your feet together before bed, like a cricket. She continued by saying that it has scientific support and is comparable to the physiological effects of acupuncture. She said, "I usually play cricket against you," to Mark, 52. "I gently brush my legs against Mark's. I'm so used to playing cricket against Mark. We had a bed part on the show," she laughed. Jerry O'Connell and Ryan Seacrest were in the bed segment. In the bed, Jerry O'Connell took Mark's place, so I began to bat my legs against his. He thought, "Kelly, that's weird," the live host said, grinning shyly. At the moment, she had no idea what Jerry was talking about. It dawned on me then that I was putting my legs up against Jerry's, since I'm so accustomed to playing cricket in bed with the person on my left. At that point, Mark added a remark of his own. He smirked and continued, "Which is dangerous, especially in the fall when things are dry, because if you don't shave, you can start a fire." For a brief while, Kelly appeared arrogant and was utterly speechless, evidently furious. She was silent, but with a smile on her face. Her husband started to applaud in the meantime. "Indeed? Yes, the show, guys. Show, bro. You people are aware of what I'm discussing. You might be a survivor." As he continued to provoke Kelly, Mark was obviously trying to get ahead of her anger. "You might be a survivor," he informed her. "You could do that Warrior SEAL team show that they have on." But before she chose to respond, his wife gave him a fierce look. "It's a good thing that you never have stubble anywhere," she said to him. "But I'm not a cricket player," Mark clarified. "Perhaps I cuddle. The live host remarked, seeming embarrassed. "I feel like I might be cuddling less this weekend." As soon as Mark and Kelly started talking about playing cricket, the audience burst out laughing. As the conversation was coming to an end, Mark made another remark that caused the audience to jeer at him. As they moved on to the next topic, he cautioned the audience, "Make sure you change the batteries on your fire alarm." That drew a few more jeers as Kelly delivered a brief rejoinder. As she fluttered through the papers in front of her, Kelly laughed, "I am so looking forward to Mark's ice-cold weekend." She was talking about how Mark was putting up with her icy feet on his back. After Mark made a mistake, Kelly referred to a recent episode of Live as the messiest ever. Kelly sharply scolded Mark when he repeatedly pronounced the name of a sweepstakes contestant inaccurately. Kelly and Mark held a giveaway for a lucky phone-in participant called Caroline on Friday's Live program. A producer threw a wheel on a game show, and the destination was Antigua. Kelly clarified that it was inclusive and asked, "That means it includes, Mark?" With a clumsy everything, all of it, Mark answered, restating Kelly's previous statement. With a sidelong glance at her husband, Kelly provided more information, stating that the reward was worth $8,100. In order to receive the vacation, Caroline had to respond to a trivia question in 20 seconds. Just as Mark opened the question, he mispronounced her name. "All right, Carolyn," he said. "Off we go. Carolyn?" With a snap, Kelly made the audience silent. "Caroline," Mark corrected himself with awkwardness. Caroline could be heard repeating, "Caroline, but it's fine, over the phone. I'm constantly called Carolyn by my granny. All is well." "Carolyn," began Mark again, as though he had not heard the whole explanation. Kelly stated, "No, things aren't okay. Caroline is here, gazing down at her spouse." "This show is the messiest we've ever had," the presenter went on. Mark then read the query. "Earlier this week we talked to Michael C. Hall. What musical did Michael say he starred in and met the drummer in his band?" Caroline received the Beachy Award for answering correctly as Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Mark seemed to have forgotten the name of the hockey player he was thinking of on the program from November 14, only a few days prior. Kelly and Mark discussed a few of the subjects covered that day. "Extremely exciting news for Patrick Lundqvist," declared Mark. An uncertain Kelly answered, "All right." The name Mark had provided was incorrect. He was speaking of Henrik Lundqvist, a former professional ice hockey goalie from Sweden. Mark corrected himself, as if realizing his error, saying, "Henrik Lundqvist? Who's Patrick?" he continued. Kelly asked her husband, "Are you okay?" with a hint of concern in her voice. Though he laughed, Mark responded, "No, I'm not okay." His wife went on in a frustrated tone, "He's been on this show. You've conversed with him." Mark chuckled. "He's also really attractive." He announced the hockey player's induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame as he carried on with the piece. This season, Mark took Ryan Seacrest's place on the talk program, having been Kelly's rival for 6 years.